Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Integration Ninjas. Today we will be discussing on how to deploy a Node.js application to AWS ECS Fargate, and we will do it by using the GitHub Actions. As developers, we know how crucial it is to streamline our deployment process, and AWS ECS Fargate instances allows us an excellent serverless option for hosting containerized applications. By combining it with GitHub Actions, we can automate our deployment pipeline and ensure our applications are always up and running with minimal effort. In this step-by-step guide, we will cover everything you need to know to create a GitHub Actions workflow that builds and deploy your Node.js application seamlessly. Whether you are new to ECS or GitHub Actions, or you are looking to optimize your existing workflow, this video is here to help you. So let's roll up your sleeves and embark on this journey to deploying your Node.js application to AWS ECS Fargate using the magic of GitHub Actions. Let's get started. So we are going to create a workflow file, which will be like, we will have a Node.js project, and in this repository we'll create a workflow file which will build and push the Docker image to Amazon Elastic Container Registry with the latest commit ID. And then afterwards the image is created there, we will update the AWS ECS service with a new task definition. We'll be creating that new task definition with that updated image ID, and we'll deploy it to Amazon ECS. So once we push the image to ECS, then we will start updating the task definition.json to the ECS service. So let's see how we'll do it. Okay, so we have a sample project Node.js application which is returning some basic configurations, list of user details. This you can see there is a GraphQL endpoint and we have REST endpoint. So we will try to run this endpoint after deploying our application. So this is like just a simple project. Last video we have did this deployment. Now if you see, we have a Dockerfile here, which is just simple, which is creating the Dockerfile for our Node.js project and exposing the port 5000. So we'll allow that port 5000. We will let our app run on the port 5000 and container also on the 5000 port. We need to create the underlying ECS cluster and the services and the task definition also. Okay, so how we'll do that? For that, GitHub, we will follow the steps provided by the GitHub. Deploying to Amazon Elastic Container Service, right? So they have provided the steps in an efficient manner. So the AWS provides some actions by default, like they have created the actions by default, like we can configure the AWS credentials by just passing our AWS access key and the secret ID and the secret key. And after that, we can log into the Amazon ECR directly with the Amazon ECR login. And then we can build, tag, and push the image to Amazon Elastic Container Registry. So let's see how we can do. After that, we have to render or the task definition. We have to update that. For that, we also need to update that in our repository. Okay. After that, we will deploy it to Amazon ECS with this particular ECS deploy task definition action. So we will follow this instructions step by step. Let's get started. How we'll do that? This is a simple project. In last video, we used this particular branch. So let's create on top of this a new branch. Deploy to ECS Fargate. And okay, let's create some Elastic Container Registry for our application. Then this will be used to store our Docker image. We'll create a public repository and we will name it as Node.js-app, and we'll leave the settings as it is and we'll create the repository. Okay, it's not created yet. Yeah, it is created. So this is the URI for our repository, and here inside this we need to deploy our app. We have to push the Docker image here. So we will write the workflow for this. Along with that, we will open the ECS. Let's search Amazon Elastic Container Service. Okay, let's get started. So for that, we will create a cluster. A cluster will group all the tasks together and allows to shared capacity and common configurations. We will name it as div cluster. And after that, we will select the AWS Fargate, which is serverless. AWS ECS is the orchestration service that simplifies the deployment, management, and scaling of containerized applications. And if we select the Fargate, it will be completely managed from the AWS. We don't need to care about anything. AWS will take care of the things, the configuration and the scaling, everything. AWS will take care. In the EC2, we have to do it manually. Okay, so after this, we will create it. So it's in progress. We can see we are using the new console. The old one is getting to expire, so we have to switch to the new one. So inside cluster, we need to create the service. For that also, we have to create the task definition. So let's create the task definition. I have already one. I can delete this, but I don't need this, so let it be. Create new task definition. Okay, these are inactive. So let's see which task definition we have used. We'll use that only. Okay, Node.js app task definition. Yes, this one. Create a new task definition. We will name it as Node.js task definition, and here we have to give the infrastructure requirements. So we are going to select the AWS Fargate for serverless compute for containers, and after that we'll leave this configuration the Linux x86-64. Others you can also select based on the requirement. And after that I will just use this one vCPU and the memory 3 GB, which is sufficient for this task. And after that I will select the IAM role for this. I have created the ECS task execution role. You can check this information. We have two roles that is used by containers in a task to make AWS API calls. So if you have to select this IAM role, you can do it from the AWS IAM management console. You have to assign the roles. We can see here. Yeah. So here if you search the ECS related roles, we have this roles, and if you click on this, it will show the properties and the permissions. So it has all permissions required to deploy our app and run the particular task. Okay, so after this we have to select the AWS this container details for this task. So we will name it as Node.js app, and okay, we have to give the repository name also. Let's go to the ECR pack again. So we will copy this URL of this, and after that we will name it as Node.js app, and the latest will not make it is fine. And after that, where the our particular app will run on, we have 5000 port enabled, so our app will run on the 5000, so container port will be 5000, so we'll leave it 5000. And after, once this process is done, we'll just create this. We don't need to change anything here, and let's create this AWS task definition with the particular container that will run on the 5000 port. You can use this task definition to deploy a service or run a task. So here few things will be there. Let's create. Now after this task definition is created, we need to create a service. But here the problem is we need to have some image, but we don't have image. Our deployment can fail. I haven't uploaded. I will upload it later. Okay, so let's select everything. Task definition, specify the revision manually. Family will be the Node.js app task definition, and the revision will be the latest one. We can verify that from here. Node.js app task definition, and the revision is 3. So we are going to use this, and we'll give some name that we used earlier is Node.js app service, and we'll give a number of task 1. You can increase it as per your requirement, and let's create this. This will definitely fail because we don't have the image there in the Amazon ECR. We will deploy it through our server, our workflow file. Let's write the workflow file how we can do this. Okay, so for that, if you see here, our particular, we will name this workflow file as CICD workflow.yaml. That is completely fine. And branch will be deployed to ECS Fargate. So we will change it. Deployed to ECS branches. So this particular workflow will be triggered when we will push something to this particular branch. And we will define a new job, build and deploy, which will be running on the Ubuntu latest, which is GitHub hosted runner. You can use your own self-hosted runner if you have all the adequate resources and the software installed in your system, AWS and the Docker, everything should be there, Node.js. Okay, so we are going to use let's see what steps GitHub has provided. They are referring to log into the AWS environment. So for that, we need to use this particular action, configure AWS credentials. So if you see what this action does, we will simply search about this action. This is provided by the AWS. This AWS has created this action to log into their particular environment through the GitHub actions. And we just need to provide the region information and our secret credentials. So let's see which version of this action they are using, the latest one. It is version 4. Okay, so we can go through, we can use the version 3 as well, since they have support to the back, they also support backward compatibility. So we will use this particular action and will provide the AWS access key and the secret access key. Okay, so from the AWS you can get your secret credentials easily for your AWS account, and you have to make sure you store them as a secret variable. You should not expose it to others. So when you go to the settings tab, there is a secret and variables options. Here in the actions tab, you define the secrets for your account. I have added this AWS access key and secret access key, AWS ID and the secret key for my account. I have added it already. How you will add secrets? It's just click on use repository secret and just save it like that. That my first secret variable where, let's give some dummy value, test. Okay, it does not support the which spaces are not allowed, and it should be underscores only. Okay, so let's do my variable, my test variable. Repository secret has been added. So if you see, it is there, my test var. So how you will access it? We just need to use secrets.aws access key and AWS secret access key like that. So this is the one thing how we will log into the AWS environment. Okay, all right. Now we will log into the Amazon ECR with this particular action, Amazon ECR login, which is also provided by the GitHub itself. GitHub AWS is providing this action as well. They have provided bunch of actions. If you click on the AWS actions, you can see there are multiple actions provided by this. There is one more Amazon ECR login, which will help us to log into the Amazon ECR. So we can use the local Docker client there. Now, if you see, if we go to the Amazon Elastic Container Registry, how will push image to the ECR from the command line? Same thing we will do here. If you see the push commands, we have to log in here, and then we have to just docker build -d and this image name and the directory. After that, we will use the push command. Okay, so let's do this. We are going to log into the Amazon ECR, and with this particular actions, since we already log into the AWS environment, we will use the mask password as true. We will be logging to the AWS with this directly. We don't need to do anything. Well, after we added this action, we have access in the AWS environment. We are logging into the AWS ECR. Now we will building and pushing the image to the Amazon Elastic Container Registry. So we will follow these commands here that is present here. So we are going to do the docker build -d and the ECR registry. ECR registry is nothing that the image that our path of the image, right? This is the path of our image here. This particular URL is there. If we go to the repository, this URI will be written by that particular action. So this action will produce the ECR registry, the URL. So with this particular ID, we will be able to access the output of this particular step. So we are using the steps output here, steps.login ecr.outputs.registry. Okay. So once it is done, we will use the image tag as not the latest one. We can use the commit .sh instead of that, like github.sh, which will be the latest commit. Okay. So every time when we push the image to AWS ECR, it will be a unique one. And our repository is the Node.js app. Okay. So we'll add everything. Now we are going to build the Docker image, docker build -d ECR registry. That will be the URL of this particular slash the application name, the Node.js app. We have given the name and the image tag, that will be the commit ID. From this particular directory, we will be creating the Docker image, correct? Now we are going to push with this particular command, which is mentioned here in the AWS ECR, like we can do it. We have the push commands here. Docker push, and we need to provide the path. Okay. So we are going to do the same thing. ECR registry, we have given the path and the repository and the image tag. And whatever the image we will be getting, we will storing it as a GitHub output, so we can use it as in the next step. Okay. So once the image is pushed, we will deploy it to Amazon ECS. Now, if we observe the Elastic Container service that we have created, if you see, the service is up, but it is failed because of there is no task. Actually, it will try to pick up something, but it will fail since there is no task. All right. If you see, there is no task, it is still tries to provisioning. Its status is pending. Okay. Let's again continue on this. Now, whatever the task we have created, task definition, we have to click on it, and we need to update this task definition with the new image ID, that container will use. So let's do one thing, click on this JSON, and we'll copy this particular JSON here, and we'll store it in the GitHub repository. So we can access this file, and we can update this file, and let's update this deploy to ECS Fargate. We have this Node.js app task definition. We will update this particular file. The task definition name should be the same as the task definition we have created here. The file name should match. Okay. If you see, the container port is 5000 and the host port will also be the 5000. Let's commit this. Since we have published this, now we have to render this ECS task definition file. We have to use this action here, Amazon ECS render task definition. So we can update the file here with this particular inputs. The task definition we need to provide, that file is in the here. It can be any place. You need to provide the path of this JSON file. Since it is in root of the repository, I'm giving directly the path like this. Now let's see what is action about Amazon ECS render task definition. Inserts a container image URI into Amazon ECS task definition JSON file, creating a new task definition file. It will update this task definition file, and when we will be uploading it to the Amazon ECS, we'll use this particular task definition file, and this particular task definition file, it will try to update the service, and it will deploy our code there with the new image. Okay. So here we have provided these inputs, task definition and container name, that will be the Node.js app that we have created there. And the image will be this particular step or result. We have stored it in the image here as a GitHub output. So we'll use the build image dot image, build image dot outputs dot image. We have provided this particular image to this particular action. Okay, so when we will use this action, a new task definition will be created, or it will be updated with the new image ID. Okay, after that we have to deploy the amazing ECS task definition file, this newly created task definition file. So once this step will be executed, it will produce the task definition file. So we will be using this, and we need to this particular action. Let's see what this particular action is using the inputs AWS ECS deploy task definitions. It will deploy the task definition to the Amazon ECS. Let's see the README of this that describes the best thing. We have to go through each action and see the README, how it works. It accepts task definition, service, cluster, and that's it. Okay, so we'll update everything. So deploy Amazon ECS task definition. We are providing the AWS actions, ECS deployed version 1 we are using. And task definition, we are providing this particular steps result that will be stored here in this task definition. And service will be Node.js app service that we have created already. And cluster is dev cluster that we have created. And wait for service stability true. So it will wait for some time to stable the application, and then this particular step result then this particular step will be success, and the further process will be triggered. Okay, so let's do this, but let's see what is the service status here. Okay, if you see, there is some error deploying to Node.js app service, resource handler error. Okay, circuit breaker was triggered. Okay, this is completely fine. Let's reload this. There is no task actually. Okay, let's run our workflow. Our image will be there, then we can trigger it. ECS deployment. Deploy to AWS ECS Fargate. Okay, let's see the action is getting triggered here. This particular job is running here. And we are successfully logging into the Amazon ECR, AWS environment, and then the ECR, and the image is getting triggered. This ECS service is a fundamental component of ECS that allows you to manage and run a specific number of tasks across a cluster of Amazon EC2 instance or Fargate instance. But there is no task. Eventually it will fail. Let's see. Once the image is there, we'll try. Okay, if you can directly see the service is inactive because there is no task. We will not having any image there. Since now we have image, we can create a service once again. Let's update this service. go back to services, dev cluster. Let's create another service. Service name I need to give Node.js app. Let's create this service. Now if you see, this is in progress. We can see the Elastic Container Registry as well. Our image has been updated recently. Then close the steps. Yeah, this image is right up updated here. We will update with the new one again. So if you see now the service is created, it's active, and task will also be running since we have the code there. It needs some it needs some image for a container to run that particular application. Now we will redeploy this. We will just re-trigger this. We don't need to do anything. Rerun it. Now it will be created against the task definition 5, and with the newly updated image ID, we will be updating the task definition. It will be redeployed. Let's consider this. It's in progress. Meanwhile, we will monitor that as well. If we click on the Node.js app service and the task, it's running. We can see the image details here. Image is pretty similar here. We can just confirm it. Many things are there actually. This is the same image. Now it will be against the new image. We'll the deployment will be done again. Okay, so image is created. Image is pushed to ECR. The deployment is in progress. It provided us the link. We can monitor this. Let's monitor this. You can see Node.js service app development is in progress. It takes a few minutes. Let's reload this and see what is happening here. Now we can see here 2 tasks are there. One was created 3 minutes ago, and this is created just right away, and we will just monitor it as well. This is against which container. Let's see which image is been pushed. Okay, now we can see the deployment is completed and the service is stable. Let's reload this. Now if we go to this particular task and we'll see the container details. This is the latest tag of our Amazon resource name, and we can see the other details. Wait, yes. And now let's try to access our API. This is the public IP of our AWS ECS instance, and it will be running on the 5000 port. And what was the API that we were trying to access for our Node.js application was /rest/get users. It's all there. Now we can see like it is, our app is deployed and everything is in the production. That we have public IP and the port and the access. We can access it on the port 5000, and we can access our API as well, right? Easily. This is the way like you can apply your AWS, like you can apply your Node.js application to AWS ECS Fargate instance. So now you see we can monitor everything here. We can see the configuration here. The launch type is Fargate instance, and we have this public IP and the task definition file. We will check the which image is used by this. The image ID is this. So everything is correct here. And we will monitor one more thing, that we can see the application logs where on the CloudFormation, not on the CloudFormation, on the CloudWatch, sorry. We can monitor it here, right here. We need to go to the Amazon Elastic Container Service, and we need to go to our services. Now if we go to the logs here, we can see here logs that is coming from the CloudWatch. We can view it in the CloudWatch as well. These are the application logs that we got, that the server is started and up. So everything is up and running. We can access our API. So these are the simple steps you can follow every time to deploy your application to the Node.js application. First time it got failed since there was no image in the Amazon Elastic Container Registry. We need to redeploy the code. First time we need to push some image there in the ECR, then only we can start the task in the service, in the cluster. Only then, once that was created, we again redeployed the trigger and updated that task definition with the new commit ID and redeployed it to the Amazon Elastic Container Service on the Fargate instance. So these are the steps. So if you like my video, please like it, share it, and subscribe it, and comment it, and share it among your friends as soon as possible. Thanks everyone. Have a good day.